Hello, hello, fellow explorer. Welcome to another walking session episode. Let's kick this one straight off. I'm excited. Now, last time I was talking about lifing. Yeah, life's been lifing. So much happening. How much do people actually want to know about my life and what goes on there? I don't know that it's that interesting. You know? I don't know that it's that interesting. Might be more interesting to follow my journey on social media because I tend to sort of share what's happening at the time. And maybe it makes more sense with the podcast. But like, I've just had a shocker this week. I've just had a shocker of like moving the wrong clients around, getting appointments wrong. Like just there's something going on. There has to be something going on. There's a reason why I'm missing so many things. Just probably need my own rest already. Need my own rest already. So the topic we're going to talk about today is how to reignite your passion when you feel burnt out. And if you're somebody who has ever in life pursued anything, there probably has been times where you have felt burnt out by it. And I mean anything hard. Anything hard comes with this. I've heard every mum say, yep, pretty much every mum say, just want to get in the car and drive away and never come back. They're not going to do that. They don't literally mean that. They just feel like it, okay? Because they need a break. Or I've heard every entrepreneur, can't even say the word, every business owner say, I just want to burn it all to the ground and start all over. I just want to get rid of it all and just do it on my own. I've heard all of those things multiple times. I've heard athletes talk about doing something different and that, grass is always greener on the other side, shouldn't bother with it, like everything, especially when things go wrong, especially when there's injury or especially when you've had a bit of a hard slog, like those times where you're pursuing something but it's just not working or it's just not happening or things just keep going wrong or you just can't put it together and you're like, why am I even doing this? Like what? Why even bother? And it makes sense that you burn out in those instances because you're already pushing yourself and then when it doesn't work out, you got to pick yourself back up. And picking yourself up once or twice, I think most of us have that within us. But when you're getting smashed over and over and over, and it doesn't even have to be in an ambitious sense. I've even had clients where grief has happened and they've lost a loved one and then another one. And then another one, and they've gone, what the actual? How am I supposed to try and pursue normal, quote unquote, normal life? How am I even supposed to try give these things a go? Or, oh God, there's so many examples of things, right? But let's try and come up with something constructive. So first of all, take a minute, take a breath. Hopefully you're out there walking and exploring a new area while you're listening to this, and I can keep you entertained while you're going for a bushwalk or you're walking by a beach somewhere. But reigniting your passion, I guess, is the key word here, because I imagine that whatever you're feeling burnt out about at this point is something that you felt a bit passionate about at another point. So whether it's, like I said, starting a business or you might be in a relationship where things are changing or whatever it is, right? So let's just start there. Let's sort of go back in time a little bit. If you can, take yourself back. If this is hard to do, if you're sort of so burnt out that you're like, oh, I don't even care, I don't want to think about it, maybe try and do this. Maybe think of the date when your passion started, whether it's years ago or a month ago or whatever it is, and try and go back in your phone or on your computer to some photos of that time. I find that even if the images that you've taken at the time are not necessarily about your passion and what you've started, sometimes taking yourself back to that space can reignite your why, or why you did it in the first place, or why you felt passionate about it, or what it is that you loved about that idea. So I'll give you an example for myself. I actually started podcasting a long time ago, nearly 6 years ago. And I've done it in so many different shapes and forms, but it was also around the time that I had a baby, so 7 years ago. And the reason why I wanted to record podcasts at the time is because I felt like I had so much to share in so little time. I felt like I wanted to share a lot of this walk and talk stuff also with other practitioners. But I also wanted to help my clients. And I got swelled up in this dance of like, who do I help? When do I help them? How do I help everyone? Amongst it, having and raising babies and wanted to have more babies. And it was just this like the thought of being able to work in my own time, not having to necessarily attend appointments with my clients, and just being able to share my passion for self-development and psychology and growth was just like, oh my God, I get to be myself and follow my dreams, but I also get to be a mum and I get to be there for my family as well. And I remember specifically thinking, oh, I wish this child slept. If you've been around for a while, she didn't for 5 years. And I'm on to the 30 of the second one. We go through bits and pieces though with her where she gets better and then we hit slumps, but it's certainly the 3-year-old's definitely better than where I was with the other one at this point. But I remember thinking, oh my God, can you imagine actually having children that sleep into like 6 or 6:30 and you'd be able to get up at 4 and get 2 hours to yourself to work, just quietly sipping on a coffee or just work in a space. And at the time, the home that I was living in didn't cater to this. My child or children along the way definitely couldn't have done that. And just yesterday I was like, interesting. She goes through these little cycles of sleep and I'm definitely, I'm cautious of like allowing myself to get some sleep to recover before pursuing this. But I'm actually able to sprinkle some of those mornings in now and it's really exciting. And I was like, oh my God, this is the time to pick it back up and get more consistent and do the podcasting stuff. I actually have time away from them and so much space that I would have dreamed of all those years ago. So sometimes kind of gone, okay, this didn't work out or this didn't go as planned, but oh my God, I have this and this is what's good about it. So taking yourself back to why you wanted to do what you wanted to do, might reignite a little bit of that passion that you have had, but also it might allow you to see where you're at a little bit differently. So you might go, when I started out, I didn't know how to do this, but now I do. So that's going to be easier. It's actually not going to be the same as what it was when I started. Or like I said, you might go, oh my God, I'm getting to a place where I have some of these mornings or whatever it is for you. So I think like going back in time and revisiting why you're doing what you're doing is really, really important. I think the other thing to do is then also giving it space to breathe. It's sort of the opposite of that point of advice. And whenever, by the way, and I'll say this in sessions with clients and I'm telling you now too, whenever I give quote unquote advice or suggestions as to what might be helpful, if I'm saying it and your whole body is like shriveling up like, then that's a no. Don't do it. Okay. Whenever I say something and you're like, ooh, that could be nice, but I could do it different. Like it's all inspo. It's all about you, not me. So don't feel like my quote unquote advice is always the be or end all. Like this is about you, not me. So then the next thing is like the opposite to that, which is letting it breathe and giving it some space. So you might go, I'm not going to figure this out. I haven't been able to figure this out. So for the next week, I'm just not going to think about it. Every time that my mind goes, we need to figure this out, I'm going to go, yeah, we are. We're going to figure it out, just not this week. I'm giving it a week to breathe. I just need some space. There's a big saying that distance gives us the clarity that we need. So if you want to, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this in podcasts, I talk about a lot of the same stuff, I guess, sometimes in sessions and in podcasts when I'm with people. But if you just put your hand in front of your eyes and then you take that hand and you move it further and further away, you can see how that, and imagine the hand as a bit of a problem that we're dealing with. Sometimes when it's so close to your eyes, you just can't see. But then as you move it further away, the distance gives you a bit of clarity. You can see your hand clearly. You can see all around it. You get other perspectives. So distance is really important. And it's also one of those things where people say, oh, when I go for a walk or when I'm in the shower, that's when the best ideas come to me. Yeah, because you're taking a break and you're giving it a moment and you're letting it have some space. And I do feel like that's when we sort of get in touch with our intuitive selves or what we really need and what we really want, because there's no forcing it. There's no push and pull. It's just like, I'm going to paint at 2 p.m. on Tuesday. No, you're not. You can paint, but it's not going to be the same as when that kind of creativity strikes at a random time and you just allow yourself to do what you need to do. So I guess my first advice is revisit your why and your passion and what, go back there and see what could be different this time around to the last time, what you've learned. And the second bit is like get clear on your why. Get clear on your why. Get clear with some distance. Give yourself some space and see what that feels like. It can feel like, actually, I don't want to do that anymore, or I'm going to do it different. I'm going to shift focus, whatever it is. Just give it some space if you can. And like I said, it can be, you might not be doing actually anything different, but just mindset-wise going, I'm just not figuring that out this week. I just want to give it a break. And I've come up with what I've come up, and I've been thinking about it over and over. Now I'm just not, and I'm just going to give it a break. And then last but not least is this thing that I like to do, which is called change it, accept it, or leave it. I think that any time in our life where we're confronted with a little bit of a crossroads, that is really all that we can do. It sounds simple, but it's not easy, right? So, okay, you're burnt out. Can you change it? What can you change about it? So you might go, well, what I will change is I'm not going to work the same hours, or I'm going to change the people that I'm working with, or I'm going to, what else can you change? Change my mindset about it. There's lots of change that can take place. So you might go, this is what led to me being burnt out, so I'm going to change it and do it different next time. So number one, always, is try and think of ways to change it. If you've already done that, then you only have two more options. If you already try to change things and they're exactly the same, then there's only two things to do. You can either accept it or leave it. It's a hard thing also to get your head around in relationships. Sometimes I'll have people that will just say the same thing over and over and over and over. This is the good old story of, sometimes a partner asking for the same thing and trying to change, and they change themselves and they come to the party, but the other person doesn't. And I guess that's a place where you go, either I'm going to accept that this is my relationship and this is just where they're at right now, or I'm going to leave the relationship because I'm really, really, really miserable and nothing's changing. So change it, leave it, or accept it. Sounds a bit harsh, doesn't it? Because it's kind of saying, oh, if nothing's changing, you just got to accept that that's how it is. I can hear babies crying. I'll just pause this for a second. Okay, I'm back. It's not because I didn't pause because of a little kid's noise are annoying. There's just something, I don't know if anyone else feels this way, and you probably don't necessarily have to be a mum for this, but I cannot ignore a kid's cry. There's just something that amplifies it from a 1 to 100, and it's not even my kid, and the mum had full control of the situation, did an amazing job. It's more, I don't know, it must be instinctive, I don't know, like a mama bear, little kid. Are they all right? Are they all right? It's weird. It fully takes me out of the zone. It's the one sound that I cannot ignore. Well, one of them anyway. I reckon cars driving by, laughing, no problem. People making other noise, no worries. Kid crying, straight into mama mode. It's so funny. Anyway, so I was talking about change it, leave it, or accept it. It might sound a little bit harsh, the whole leave it or accept it situation, but at times if you've tried to change something and it ain't changing, you're just wasting your energy, and kind of being in the acceptance stage can give you a beat, a moment to kind of focus on yourself and give yourself back in other ways, especially if we're talking about a relationship situation. Like if you've been trying and the other party is not, that's when you go, well, this is wasted energy here. I'm just going to accept that you're over there and I'm going to do it this way. And I'm going to revisit this whole change, accept it and leave it. Because remember, everything that we do, every decision that we make, it does not have to be a forever decision. Just because you once said, I'm going to do it this way, doesn't mean that you don't get to revisit it. And something that you've accepted, you might full come to terms with accepting something. And 3 months later you go, oh, that doesn't sit right anymore. Now I'm going to try and change it again, or now I'm going to leave it. But really, they're your only options in life. So when we talk about reigniting your passion for something that you feel burnt out about, then sit with that burnout and go, all right, do I need to change it? Or are you in a season of life where you're probably going to feel burnt out and exhausted because over the next month, your your kids are little and they're not going to grow up in a month and they're still not sleeping. And at that time, you're also training new staff because that's the business need that you have. And that needs to happen on that end. And then at the same, like, do you know what I mean? At the same time, maybe you're sick and you've got the flu, but it's like, I can't actually take the time off. If you're a small business owner, 100% you know what this means, right? I love it when people say, oh, just take a day off. Off where? Where are we going? Because it's not only that the work accumulates, it's sitting there waiting and it gets even worse. So I've been in seasons where it doesn't sound healthy, but I've just had to show up sick and just get things done because that actually is the better option than being able to take a step back. But by all means, if you can take the step back, take it. But you can see how surrendering to it and you just go, yeah, this is going to be... I'm just thinking of a day. This is an example of what I'm talking about. I had a full day of clients. I'm talking 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Walking with clients full day, and I had a chest infection. And I knew my husband, I think he was either away at the time or he was going to go away. Like, there was literally no room for me to reschedule those. It was not an option. If I moved those clients from that day, I would not see them for another 2 months, which is completely not what I wanted to do, for so many reasons. So I just walked through it. I walked gently. I nourished my body as much as I could that day. I gave everyone the heads up that I was feeling a bit under the weather. At that point, I think I was already taking something for it, so I wasn't contagious anymore. But I was not feeling good. And in any other world, I'd probably chuck a sickie and call in sick to work. But that wasn't an option for me for so many reasons. And in fact, it would have created a longer recovery journey than just accepting that day was just going to be not my best and there's going to be hard and I'm going to have to push through, etc. So does that make sense? Does this whole concept make sense? Again, it never looks perfect. You might, in fact, be making a decision where there's no winning sometimes. I think sometimes, especially if you've done the change thing and you're up to the point where you're like, I'm accepting or leaving it. If you feel like you can't win either way, I'd probably encourage you to do the acceptance bit for a little bit longer, especially if we're talking about leaving a business or leaving a relationship or a friendship or whatever. Like, if you're not like 100% on how empowered you're going to feel with leaving it, if you don't feel completely done and you're just making that decision from a place of this will give me a break, don't do it yet. Sit with the acceptance for a little bit longer, if that makes sense. All right. They're probably my 3 hot tips. There's probably, I could go on and on with a few more, but I'm not, because I don't want to overwhelm you. That's plenty for you to do. Have a think about it. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if it worked, it didn't work. And I'll leave it there. Like, share, do all the things. Join our little group. It's not, when I say a little group, it's just a space with resources. I haven't created an actual group, or maybe I should, for people to interact, but that's not there yet. Do your own thing. Follow your heart, follow your intuition. Like I said, whatever I said now, if it doesn't ring true, throw it out. If it feels any kind of, oh, this could be something, follow that trail and off you go. All right, leaving it there. I will chat to you next time. Bye.